What if I told you that her silence isn't just a reaction? It's a strategy. You went no contact, thinking she'd be the one to break first, but now she's mirroring your every move, and instead of chasing you, she's doubling down. Suddenly, you're not sure who's in control anymore. But here's the truth. No contact isn't about who holds out longer. It's not a competition. It's about who transforms first. Who uses this time to grow instead of just waiting. You've already lost if you're stuck in a game of silence. But everything changes if you use this moment to rebuild, to become the kind of man she can't ignore. Pain is power, if you know how to wield it. Right now you have two choices. Sit there, overanalyzing every move, or take action and become the version of yourself that doesn't just get her attention, but makes her question everything. If you're ready to stop reacting and start evolving, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I control my emotions, not the world. Let's dive in. Number 1. The trap of emotional reaction. Right now you are trapped. Whenever you check her social media, reread old messages, or feel the urge to reach out, you feed that trap. You are showing her that she still controls your emotions, whether she realizes it or not. Women don't have to ask if a man is weak, they feel it. And weakness, in their eyes, is a man whose emotions rule him. A man who cannot control himself will never command admiration. Without admiration, there is no respect. Without respect, there is no regret in leaving. The hardest pill to swallow? She won't regret walking away if she knows you're still stuck in the past. Most men believe that emotions make them attractive. They will somehow make her reconsider by proving their love, depth, and pain. But emotions don't attract. Self-control does. Women are drawn to strength, to stability, to mystery. The moment she senses that you are still lost in your feelings, she will know she made the right choice. But the moment she senses that you are unaffected, doubt creeps in. Eliminate emotional triggers. Block, delete, unfollow. Every glimpse into her life is another self-inflicted wound. Control your impulses. Whenever you feel the urge to check on her, do something productive instead. Hit the gym, work on a project, or read a book that sharpens your mind. Maintain the silence. Do not reach out. Do not give her the satisfaction of knowing she still has a hold over you. Your silence is not a weakness. It is power. It forces her to wonder. It disrupts the script she expected. She anticipated your breakdown, your desperate attempt to win her back. Instead, she is met with absence, and absence breeds uncertainty. The longer she hears nothing from you, the more she begins to question, did I misjudge him? Did I make a mistake? But it will be too late by the time she realizes that you have already moved beyond her. Now comment below, I control my emotions, no one else does. Number 2. The illusion of control. You think if you wait long enough to play no contact correctly, she will return. You tell yourself that silence is a strategy. If you execute it perfectly, she will realize her mistake and return. But this is nothing more than an illusion, a desperate attempt to hold on to control in a situation where you have none. The harsh reality is that if you are still waiting, checking the clock, hoping that your silence will trigger her return, you have not truly detached. You are not in control, she is. Women can sense when your actions are a performance, when your so-called indifference is just a mask for obsession. They know when you're still watching their stories, when you're still asking friends about them, and when you still react emotionally, even in silence. And that is why they do not regret leaving. Because they still have space in your mind. No contact is not about manipulating her emotions. It is about freeing yourself from her influence. It is not about waiting for her to return, but about reaching a point where her return no longer matters. The only way to win this game is to stop playing it, to accept, fully and completely, that she is gone, that the version of you who needed her no longer exists. You are not using silence as a weapon, but as a statement. I do not wait for what is not meant for me. And when you finally internalize this truth, something shifts. You stop checking. You stop hoping. You stop watching, and when she finally does reach out, because they always do, she will sense it immediately. This time, she is the one who has lost control. Now, comment below, I release all control. Number 3. The power of silence. Silence is not passivity. It is not a weakness. It is not avoidance. Silence is control, a deliberate choice that shifts the balance of power. When you stop reaching out, reacting and chasing, you create a void where she once assumed her presence was permanent. She expects you to fill that void with desperation, longing, and any sign that she still holds significance in your life. But something begins to change when that void remains empty, and you refuse to give her the emotional validation she thought was guaranteed. At first, she won't notice. She will assume that your silence is temporary and that you will eventually break. Most men do. They wait in the shadows, counting days, convincing themselves that if they stay quiet long enough, she will return. But true silence is different. True silence is when you are no longer waiting. It is when you have accepted reality and have let go of the need for a response, closure, and recognition. It is when you no longer need her to notice your absence, because her perception no longer dictates your self-worth. The real power of silence is that it is not about her at all. It is about you. It forces you to confront your emotions, face the discomfort of solitude, and detach from the idea that someone else's attention determines your value. And when you embrace that, when your silence is no longer a tactic but a truth, you become untouchable. Because now you are not just absent from her life, you are absent from her control. And in that absence, regret begins to take root. Now, comment below, my silence is my power. Number 4, how she feels your absence. At first, she won't care. She will go about her life as if nothing happened, fully convinced that your silence is temporary. She expects you to struggle, to linger in the shadows, to break and come crawling back eventually. This is where most men fail. They mistake her lack of immediate reaction as proof that she has moved on. And in their desperation they reach out, they check in. They remind her that they are still there, still waiting, and the moment they do, all hope of regaining power is lost. But you are not like most men. You understand that silence is not meant to provoke an instant response, but to create doubt. Doubt does not arise in a day or even a week. It builds slowly, creeping into her mind like a whisper she cannot ignore. At first, she barely notices your absence. Then she starts wondering why you haven't reached out. Then she starts checking if you've been watching her stories, liking her posts, and asking about her. When she finds nothing, the first seed of uncertainty is planted. Women do not miss the men who wait for them. They miss the men who truly forget them. The men disappear not as a game, but because they have moved on. That is when the regret begins. Not when she sees you waiting, but when she realizes you never will. And by the time she finally reaches out, expecting even the slightest hint of familiarity, she will be met with something she never anticipated. Indifference. Not coldness, not anger, just the quiet, undeniable reality that she no longer matters. And that, more than anything, is what will haunt her. Now, comment below, I disappear without a trace. Number 5, the test of patience. Most men fail not because they lack strength, but because they lack patience. They can handle a few days of silence, maybe even weeks, but eventually doubt creeps in. They start asking themselves, what if she never comes back? What if she's really gone? What if I wasted my chance? And in that moment of weakness, they give in. They send the text, they check her profile, they find an excuse to break the silence. But breaking the silence is not just a small mistake, but a complete surrender. The moment you reach out, you confirm exactly what she suspected all along, that you were never truly gone, that your silence was never real, that she never lost you to begin with. And once she knows this, any power you had is gone. Patience is the ultimate test. It is the ability to endure discomfort, to sit in the unknown without seeking reassurance, and to trust in yourself, even when there are no immediate signs of success. Women do not miss men who wait. They miss men who stop waiting. Every moment you spend worrying about whether she will come back is a moment wasted, because the truth is, it does not matter. The man who truly embraces patience is the man who realizes that he is the prize, not her. You do not need her to return. You do not need validation. You do not need a reaction. Your value is not determined by whether or not she realizes what she lost. It is determined by whether or not you realize what you have gained. The ability to walk away without hesitation, without regret, without ever looking back. And when you master that, you will not be waiting for her to return. She will be waiting for you. Now, comment below, I master patience. I master myself. Number 6. The mirror effect. She thinks she's in control. She believes that by walking away she has dictated the terms of the breakup, that she holds the power because you are the one left in silence. And this is why women use no contact too, not as a path to move on, but as a test. They want to see if you will break, if you will chase, and if you will prove that their absence still affects you, because as long as you do, they win. Most men fail this test because they react. They take the bait, reaching out when the silence becomes too much to bear, giving her the confirmation she was looking for, that she never truly lost them. But the rare few, the ones who understand the game, do something different. They reflect her energy at her. They become the mirror. She expected to long, but she is met with indifference. She expected to see you waiting, watching, lingering in the background. Instead, she sees nothing. No messages, no reactions, no trace of your presence in her world. And this is when the dynamic shifts, because now she is the one who feels uncertain. When a man refuses to react, he forces a woman into the unknown. Uncertainty breeds attraction. It triggers the emotions she was trying to provoke in you: curiosity, doubt, even regret. Suddenly she starts to wonder, was I wrong? Did I misjudge him? Why isn't he reacting? She thought she knew you. Now, she's not so sure. The man who is unpredictable, unreadable, and unaffected is the man she cannot forget. And by the time she realizes this, she has already lost the game. Because now, she is no longer testing you. She is chasing you. Now, comment below, I reflect nothing, I reveal nothing. Number 7. Transforming pain into power. Pain is inevitable, but suffering, that is a choice. The weak man lets pain consume him, lets it shape his identity, and lets it dictate his actions. He drowns in it, feeds it with memories, and clings to it as if it defines his worth. But the strong man, who understands the truth of this world, does something entirely different. He uses it. Right now, the pain you feel is nothing more than energy. Raw, untamed, powerful energy. And like all energy, it can be wasted, or it can be converted into something greater. You can sit in your emotions, replaying what went wrong, torturing yourself with what-ifs, or you can take that energy and forge yourself into something unstoppable. Whenever you think about her, you have two choices: waste that moment on longing, or fuel your transformation. Hit the gym, push harder, and run further. Train your mind, sharpen your focus, and build discipline. Channel your pain into a force that elevates you beyond the man she once knew. Because if you do this long enough, something remarkable will happen. You won't even recognize the man who once waited for her. And when she finally looks back, expecting to see the same person she left behind, she will be met with a reality she never anticipated. You are no longer within her reach. But the irony? By then, it won't even matter to you anymore. You will have outgrown not just her, but every version of yourself that ever needed her. Now, comment below, I turn pain into power. Number 8. The inevitable shift. There comes a point where everything changes, not because you forced it to, not because you followed some strategy, but because time and growth have made it impossible for you to stay the same. At first you resist. You still hold on to the idea that she will return and realize her mistake one day. But as the days become weeks and the weeks into months, something inside you shifts. You stop waiting, you stop caring, you stop remembering. She was once the center of your thoughts, but now she is a passing memory, a fading echo of someone you used to know. The more you grow, the smaller she becomes. The more you build, the more irrelevant she feels. And then one day, without even realizing it, you forget her entirely. Not in a bitter way, not in a way that requires effort, but in the same way you forget an old song you once loved that no longer resonates with the person you've become. And it is at this moment, when you have finally moved on, that something unexpected happens. She feels it. Women always do. The second you are truly gone, the second your energy no longer lingers, the second she is no longer on your mind, the second she starts to wonder where you went. But by then it's too late, because you are no longer the man who wanted her back. You are no longer the man who needed her. You have become something far greater, a man she will never have access to again. Now, comment below, I move forward without looking back. Number 9. Whether she comes back or not, it doesn't matter. There will be a moment when she reaches out. Maybe it's a simple message, something casual, something meaningless, yet intentional. Maybe she suddenly watches your stories, likes an old photo, or finds some excuse to ask how you've been. But by this moment, something inside you will have changed. You will no longer be waiting. You will no longer care. And that is what makes all the difference. Most men convince themselves that the goal of moving on is to make her regret leaving and realize what she lost. But the man who has truly embraced his own power understands that her return is irrelevant. If she comes back, it means nothing. If she doesn't, it means nothing. Because by the time she realizes your value, you will have already stepped into a reality where her presence is unnecessary. The ultimate strength is in difference. Not forced, not faked, but real. The kind that does not require silence as a strategy, but as a natural state of existence. The kind that does not seek closure because closure has already happened within. You do not need to prove anything to her. You do not need to react. You do not need to decide whether or not to let her back in, because the man you have become no longer even considers it. And in that moment, you understand the final truth. She was never the destination. She was just a lesson, a challenge, a catalyst for growth. And now, you have outgrown her completely. Now, comment below, I am free from the outcome. Number 10. The final truth. You are the prize. For so long you believed she was the prize. You placed her on a pedestal, thinking she would have stayed if only you had done something differently. You convinced yourself that her validation meant something, that her recognition of your worth was necessary for you to feel whole. But now, after everything, you see the truth. It was never about her. It was always about you. You are not the man she left behind. That version of you died the moment you chose to stop chasing, the moment you stopped seeking closure, stopped waiting, stopped hoping. The moment you started focusing on yourself, pushing past the pain, becoming something greater than she could ever comprehend. And now, as you stand on the other side of this transformation, you realize something even deeper. If she returned today, you wouldn't even choose her anymore. Because the man you have become demands more. He no longer looks to the past. He no longer idolizes what was lost. He no longer sees her as someone he wants, because he understands that true power, true fulfillment, comes not from another person, but from within. You are the prize, not because you played some game or manipulated the situation, but because you evolved. Because you become the kind of man who does not chase, who does not beg, who does not wait. A man who builds, who leads, who moves forward without hesitation. And now she is just another memory, just another chapter, just another lesson in a book that no longer belongs to her. Now, comment below, I am the prize. You came here wondering why she's also doing no contact, but now you realize that question doesn't matter anymore. What matters is who you become while this is happening. She didn't take your power. She only revealed that you needed to claim it for yourself. If you're ready to stop playing the waiting game and start winning on your terms, like this video, subscribe, and comment below, "I am unstoppable." Stay strong, keep moving forward. The best version of you isn't waiting, it's already in motion.